So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is how much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
Hi, and I'm fucking freezing. We're out here in Trent Hills, Ontario, at my place. Al Graham's here, Mary Jane's here, and you guys can all unmute your mics now. I don't even. Okay, here we go. Oh.
Stay some warm over here by the fire, Al.
Yeah, and so I also want to welcome our guest for tonight, Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom used to work for High Times. We're going to talk to him about that. But now he works for his site, Celeb Stoner, which I love that site. I've been following Steve for a long time. He's been on the show before, just not for a little while. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. Nice to see everybody.
Nice to see you, too. I hope you're warmer than I am, man, because I got breath coming out my mouth now.
Well, I mean, I'm from down south, but not that far south, New York City. So.
Yeah, there you go. So our regulars are here as well. Darcy and Leonard or Lenny. Dad's iPhone is Al Graham from Pace Radio, and he's trying to get his mic to work.
No,
Up there you go.
my mic's working.
There you go. And who else? And the neighbor here, the trailer trash from down the road is here. And, of course, Marcel and Kurt and everybody. So, and Darcy. What's going on, Darce? Oh, now somebody's messaging me on Facebook.
Hi from New York City.
Is my mic on?
It is now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm all lit up. You can see me okay? Okay.
Oh, I can see you.
Look
at that.
You're very psychedelic.
I'm squishing tonight out.
So, what Marcel was going to say something.
Oh, no, I found it.
Okay.
I couldn't find the
Look at this photo.
Look at this. Oh, God, she's in. Holy. We got to feature Mary Jane here. So,
what's going on? I'm like, what are we looking at?
We're spotlighting your video. All right, so let's talk to Steve about what he's been doing. Steve, you started out when? Way back when? You've been around in the industry for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, I started working with High Times in 1988. So prior to that, I got my start as a music journalist, and I just kind of worked my way through publishing in and out of jobs and writing for different magazines and publications. And I found my way to High Times via a friend of mine who I'd met along the way. And he had a job at High Times before I did, a guy named John Holmstrom. He was the publisher at one point, but at the time he was one of the editors, and he brought me in. And, I was a marijuana smoker, from high school on, but really wasn't a regular reader of High Times. So I'm really familiar with all the details of what was going on in the marijuana world that High Times would teach you. So I learned a lot, just getting going with High Times, and I've been doing it ever since.
Like a lot of us.
Worked at High Times for 20 years, had multiple jobs, started part-time, kind of ended up part-time. And in the middle, I was, I became co-editor. I was music editor. I was news editor. I was like entertainment editor. I was senior editor. All these different names, but just one of the main guys, people there on the staff. And then after High Times in 2007, I left High Times, and I came up with the idea for Celeb Stoner right around then. And websites were just starting to break out. It was still pretty new.
Yeah.
I started with a blogger site just to kind of learn some things, and then I spun it out to a Celeb Stoner. And that was kind of came from my interest in celebrities and marijuana that had developed during my years at High Times, because being like the music guy up there, I was always interacting with bands and getting them in the magazine and maybe on the cover and hanging out with them and this and that. And so it kind of just extended beyond that to other people like, Woody Harrelson or Bill Maher and, the Cheech and Chong and, other people outside of music that I started to meet at high times. And so I kind of took all that stuff and I kind of turned it into Celeb Stoner.
It's what we do anyways. I mean, I grew up listening, I'm 57 this year, and we would go down to Sam's Music in Toronto and buy our albums and go home and listen to them. That doesn't happen much anymore, does it?
I guess not. To me, the closest I get to that is I get a CD, via Amazon.
Yeah.
I listen to it in my car.
Yeah. I got everything.
I don't even have a CD player in the house, but I love music in the car. By the way, no matter how you play it, I still have my car's older, so I have a tape deck and a CD player in the car. And obviously, I can plug in my phone if I want to too. But I love the sound of a CD in a car. It's just great.
I have a really good system in my. I got a Santa Fe, and it's just like you click the right buttons and you get it dialed in, and it's got surround sound in it, and it blows me away. I can't wait to go to a movie, go to see a drive-in. Right?
Well, for me, I'm a big vinyl guy. I'm a vinyl freak.
Yeah.
And I don't have it like in front of me right now to kind of walk you over to my vinyl collection, but I have 2 walls full of vinyl. I have like another whole bunch of albums at a friend's basement. I got some stuff in storage, but the bulk of my main collection of about, say, 5,000 albums is here. I'm very proud of that.
Wow.
Pretty well curated over the years to what I want, but I'm always looking for something. What I do miss now during COVID is not being able to do stuff like that. Just going to a store.
I miss live music.
Laying low,
Yeah.
So I'm not really doing stuff like that now. Hopefully I'll get back to it, but I kind of miss digging, as they say. Vinyl people call it digging. You dig for albums.
Live music is something that I lack in my life that I really miss. Because of all the COVID stuff.
I understand that, especially someone like me who's covered so much music over the years. It's upsetting, but I've also taken it as a bit of a lesson. I'm a little bit older. I'm 65. I've been to a lot of shows over the years. It's not like I have to really go to that many shows. It's not that important to me. I don't mind watching things on the computer. I don't mind watching sports on the TV. I don't think we have to go rushing out to events these days right now until things are safer again.
I went and saw the last concert I saw was The Who, and it was really cool to be there and see them, but it was not the same. They performed really well. The songs that you wanted to hear were there, but in the last song, Roger's voice cracked, and that was it. He walked off stage, and Peter had to finish it. I mean, and you're getting with the older bands, the classic rock bands, you get that now. Unfortunately, you get remnants of what used to be huge.
Right. What used to be The Who, but the thing is that Dolce's got a bad reputation with marijuana people.
Yeah.
He gets mad at them for shows. He's really chastised fans.
Yep.
He's yelled at them in the front row. Put out your fucking weed.
I've seen it. I've seen video footage where he flat out said, like yourself, he said, I have an allergy to marijuana, and you guys down front are smoking it, and if you don't stop, I'm going to walk off the fucking stage. And he'll say that right to his fans.
It's very ironic coming from the lead singer of The Who, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But my last show was The Brothers. Now, any Allman Brothers fans in the crowd here? It was kind of a 50th anniversary Allman Brothers show. It's kind of what's left of the Allman Brothers, but it was headed by Warren Haynes and Derek Trucks, and a great band playing all the Allman Brothers songs. And it was a great reunion show. And if anybody's a Warren Haynes fan, it was like top of the game for Warren Haynes. This is like as good as he gets. It was really great, but it was weird. It was March 11th. It was just as COVID was starting to pick up in New York. There were 19,000 of us in that arena. I don't know if anybody got sick, but we were a little nervous that night because we didn't know what was coming. We kind of saw it coming down the pike a little bit. It was just a couple of days before everything started to shut down.
Yeah,
we all packed in, and that was my last show.
It's like I said, I don't. Have you been to Toronto? You know about Ontario Place and the Forum and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
been to Toronto in a while, but I did go to Canadian Music Week, years back.
Yeah.
And, I went to the Toronto Film Festival, but it's all been around 20 or more years ago.
We used to have the Forum down at Ontario Place, and you could go and see pretty much anybody who would come into the city that was worth seeing at the time. Peter Tosh used to come in, B.B. King, Buddy Rich, Buddy Guy, all of those. And they would play in the afternoon, and then they'd do an evening show. Doug and the Slugs, so many bands that I saw there. And it was an open concept forum where the center of the stage spun. So you had the perfect view for the whole show, right? It's just different. Now they've got the Molson Budweiser, the Budweiser stage now. And it's just not the same. It's not the same at all. I miss bands in bars as well. So tell us about Celeb Stoner and what you've got going on there. What's your whole reason for doing kind of thing?
Yeah, well, like I was saying, I left High Times in 2007, and I came up with the idea for Celeb Stoner. So I started then, with the idea of continuing what I was doing at High Times, more or less, just doing it my way and curating it my way. When you do a website, you're kind of like a curator. You're just looking at the news and deciding what, and what can you bring to the table that somebody else doesn't have. Or what can you add to whatever it is that's an important discussion and a lot of everybody's talking about? What do you have to add to that?
Yeah.
Exclusive and also be, in depth and, give people analysis and one reason why they want to read your stuff and also kind of make it fun,
Hands free.
Yeah, I mean, but make it fun too. That's I kind of learned that a little bit at High Times too. You can merge, being an activist and just being a stoner who loves to listen to music and great bands. You could, you could political, you could cover a lot of territory. And so I was able to cover a lot of territory at High Times. I started as a news editor. I became a music editor. And then, like I said, other editors there. So I learned everything you needed to know, even on the grow side. I edited Jorge Cervantes. I was good friends with Danny Danko, Kyle Cushman, all these people.
I know Danny. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I learned a lot from all of them in terms of the knowledge. Ed Rosenthal, I've been around all these people. It's just not my forte. I like growing, but I'm not a grower. And I like the whole thing around growing. And I keep aware of everything, but that's not,
You don't consider yourself a pothead?
I'm a pothead, but I'm not a grower.
Oh, you're not a grower. Okay.
I can go head to head with a grower and have an in-depth conversation. I know more than the average person.
Yes.
Still, forte, So, but either way, I kind of like, sort of be kind of an umbrella for, all these different subjects that people might be interested in, who all of us have one thing in common: we smoke marijuana. And so, and what are our interest areas?
I find it more laid back. You're not overly political. You're not underly political. You say you put out there what you feel that your group of people that enjoy your stuff will want to hear or see, right?
I think so. I mean, yesterday I posted, the third episode of the Freak Brothers.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
It's more popular than anything else I posted in the last couple of days. So you never know what people want to see, but I put it out there. I've seen the first one and the second one, and I just update. Here's the third one.
Yeah.
Just if you haven't seen it. It's funny to see. You might want to dig it. It's kind of like just picking people up to stuff. Everybody's doing what I'm doing. They're combing through their timelines on Facebook and looking at the news. They're getting their news in different ways, and and maybe they'll stop and see a link to Celeb Stoner, and that'll interest them. They'll click to the site and look at a few things, and then go off on their merry way to their next stop on the web. So I don't mind if people want to visit for 2 minutes and go on to the next thing. I just hope that they come
and that's different now. It used to be you have somebody come to your website, you want to keep them there, right?
That's the goal.
Yes, it is. But now with the social sharing, you can have a website like on our station site. I've got my Twitter feed on there, and everybody who works for the station, when they post on Twitter something, it goes on to there. So you get a pretty good idea of who we are and what we're posting.
With me, everything I post, I move it around social media.
Yeah.
My two pages are Facebook and Twitter. You really can't use Instagram to really post stuff, so it's hard to use Instagram for that purpose. It's good for other things.
I don't get Instagram, to be honest, but I know it's popular.
it's just more picture oriented
Yeah.
and stuff like that. People like to tell some stories on Instagram. It's interesting. It's a good place for information because I find a lot of stuff there that gets posted there. Whether I use it or not, a lot of stuff is posted there. So there's a lot of valuable information. As a reporter, you can glean from Instagram because it's out there. There's so many people. Yeah. But my favorites are Facebook and Twitter. And lately, I've really been building up my Celeb Stoner page at Facebook, and I'm beginning a lot more engagement there. So that's kind of become like a secondary place to get Celeb Stoner information. First is the main site, and secondarily is the Facebook.
I've noticed that you've been posting more lately.
Yeah, I've decided to utilize it differently and picking up more interest, and I decided to post more things there. So I kind of break things down to like a personal page where I'm posting more personal things or more political things that are not necessarily marijuana related, or it's just personal stuff or family related, whatever it might be. And then the page is obviously, curated for the marijuana person, we're interested in, what's happening, and just could be any number of things. Paul Simon's birthday,
the silliest things capture
that song. It's just things like that. It's just like throw it out there. Just give people a lot of stuff. Yep. They're moving, their eyes are moving fast, and just get there in the middle of it so that they're scanning your stuff too. And if they're searching, maybe they'll come upon a Celeb Stoner story in a search if they're looking for something, because Celeb Stoner is maybe up there. They don't have to dig that far to find it. So I'm just happy with the pace of where things are at and the engagement. I'm very interested. It's an election year. There's so much on our minds here in the U.S., obviously around the world. People don't even know what to think right now. There's so much happening.
Yeah. Do you hear a lot in New York about what's happening up here in Canada?
Yeah. I'm certainly covering Canada quite a bit when it went legal. When I was
legal. Sorry.
Okay. I was at the Freedom Leaf magazine. I was editing that post High Times, sort of just to fill out my timeline. I started for Celeb Stoner in like 2007. I didn't really have any other real job, and I kind of focused on that for the next 7 years. And then Freedom Leaf sort of found me, and they were a new company, and they were looking to start a magazine. And so I became their editor, and I did magazines for them through last year. But we kind of like done less and less. But I did 35 magazines for Freedom Leaf. So I kind of put in a lot of effort there, and focused on Canada a lot via Freedom Leaf, partially the business aspect, obviously the so-called legalization. But I've kind of lost a little touch of what's been happening lately. I mean, I don't know, sort of like California and Canada's kind of got a little bit of a bad reputation for how they handle legalization. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, they've all but, and I know that Marcel's going to jump in, and Al will jump in on this, and maybe everybody will. We're all medical patients. We are, anyways. Everybody on the show, and we kind of got a bum deal out of it. They've pushed recreational. As far as medical goes, there are a few LPs, Trail Cannabis for one, who are trying to focus on the patients that are out there that are being bypassed by the LPs. Like somebody say it. Come on, say it. Say it. Say it. I don't know, dweeb.
Not saying a word, dude. You dug the hole.
We're bound. We can't say shit.
But there are a few legal producers in Canada that are paying attention to patients, but not many, and certainly not the legal stores.
But the problem was when it first came out with legalization, the patients were screwed.
Yes.
Because they diverted almost all of the product that they had as an LP to that recreational market.
Yeah.
So it left major shortages to the patients. And exporting, yeah. Because they were sending a lot of it overseas. So a lot of the patients got screwed over that.
Mary Jane is like wrapped up in lights here. Stand beside Al. They'll see over there. California just went poof. I mean, I thought, what I think about California is that everybody back in the day, I mean, I've been doing this 12 years, Steve. Okay, so 10 years ago, everybody's going, it's going to be California, California, California. They're going to do it finally. Hey, California was fucking last, And then
we're last.
But California was first for the medical program.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Right?
yes, you're right.
But that
California's ahead of the game in 2010. It just lost.
right,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what pissed me off, because California started their medical program about a year before Canada did.
Mhm.
10 years later, California's got 785,000 patients, and Canada's got 40.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and zero
That's all
legal
we had
stores. Yeah.
was 40 patients or 40,000 patients in 2012.
Yeah, MMAR.
So let me ask a question about this whole medical versus recreational, whatever. Can't medical patients benefit from recreational? I mean, it's available. So
You know what? I'd like Lenny
It's
to
cost
answer this.
prohibitive.
I'd
Yeah,
like Lenny to answer this because Lenny is actually a pharmacist, Steve. So he's the one to ask that question.
What do you want me? How do you, medical versus recreational? What do you mean? Does the recreation? Here's the bum rep the LSP's got on medical, by the way. The product's still available. What happened is Canada's got a couple issues. One, we don't have enough fucking doctors. Step one, at least in the Maritimes, there's no doctors. Step two, most doctors don't really understand cannabis, and there's a lot of pressure for them to kind of the red tape and bureaucracy to get cannabis prescribed is kind of a pain in the ass. So what happened when it went legal? A doctor just says, "Oh, I don't want using cannabis. Just go to your liquor store and pick it."
I know people.
So there is a
happened.
misconception that there's no medical patients, but they're not being treated medically. How about that with professional care?
Yeah, they're not being properly treated.
That's the gap.
Exactly.
So to Steve's point, the legalization, yes, it's cannabis is a little bit more widely accessible. The tax obviously put it up. The price.
It made it cost prohibitive for a lot of patients. That's the problem.
And then don't forget, when you go into the licensed system, and as a patient who's buying it from recreational stores, they're limited to strengths when it comes to edible products and stuff.
Yeah. So they put a 10 milligram cap for any ingested product.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where they screwed up. See, what they should have done is made it through a pharmacy by a real prescription where they can compound any actual strength prescribed by that said doctor. If you want to protect the public and just put 10 milligram capsules for over-the-counter, non-counseled, professional, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. But they easily could have had medical, high-strength edibles, orals, easily. Put it this way: if I can dispense Dilaudid or hydromorphone or morphine, I can release a 200 milligram edible of cannabis.
Exactly.
But that's all it is.
I can make them for you, Lenny.
Get on a little bit for the medical, and it's not really their fault. It was just all of a sudden, there's a lack of doctors, which is kind of not related to cannabis issue. It's a Canadian healthcare issue. And B, a lot of doctors honestly got a little lazy, and it's like, well, like I'm cool with it. I'll admit, most of them don't know how to prescribe it. They'll never fucking admit that, but that's the truth, guys.
That's the biggest problem is they've never been trained in cannabis.
You can go get I'm cool with you using it, but you can go over to the liquor store and pick it up. It's quick, it's easy. Mind you, they're busy people. Like they have a lot of patience. I'm trying not to shit on them, but
they go in for. Don't doctors go in for upgrading as far as getting updated on things like that?
Doctors are required to.
They have to get CME points a year, but it doesn't have to be. It's whatever they choose to get re-educated on. Same
Right. It's the onus is on them to get educated.
Yeah.
Right.
But no one's saying it has to be cannabis. It's whatever you decide to look up. But
the smart thing
just the
would
way
be
everything got rolled out. There's all kinds of factors.
But the smart thing would be the doctors now to start taking the cannabis courses seriously.
Yeah,
so
because they are available.
Oh yeah, look, we were doing it back in, what?
Yeah, really, yeah.
When did I do the ACE program out of McGill? Right, and that was online, and that was made for doctors and researchers.
Listen, they don't have to take any course. I'm going to tell everyone, 2018, Dr. Ethan Russo, Dr. Laura McCallum, Dosing and Administration of Medicinal Cannabis, review article. Google it. It's like 3 fucking pages. It tells every doctor 95% everything they need to know about cannabis and how to do it.
It's actually
So if
pretty
anyone
good.
says there's no evidence or they don't know how to do it, fuck off. You're an idiot. Go read the article.
You have such a way with words, Len.
I get to the point. I've been told that.
They're liars. They can be liars.
No,
but
it's not that they're liars. It's just
I fired them for being liars.
No, I get fed up when they tell me there's no evidence, there's nothing to it. There is evidence.
Because they're too lazy to look it up.
But if people really want to know, go do your family doctor a favor. Take that article in. If you don't feel comfortable and understand how to prescribe it, read the article. See, this is a medical doctor, an intern, Dr. McCallum, and I guess everybody here probably knows Russo. It's a very, honestly, a lay person can read this article. It's an excellent basic review article. It is the basic.
Tim is making the fire really high because I'm really cold. We're all cold.
But we shouldn't shit on doctors and LPs. That's all. Like, there's all kinds of
I don't shit on the LPs. The LPs had their reasons. The LPs have a lot of capital expense they had to try and recoup.
Oh yeah, of course.
My problem was always the fact of them shorting patients by telling the patients,
they did.
Yeah,
those
they did.
Ones, you know which LPs I'm talking about. They did.
Oh, I know.
But there's no shortage now, so that's not an issue. And again, as much as
Tim,
the doctors,
could you grab my other jacket for me?
The ones that are closed-minded about it.
Yeah.
And the issue is, any doctor that's telling their patient to go to the liquor store to get their medicine, give your head a shake. I'm sorry.
That's ridiculous.
It's called it's inappropriate. They should know better.
I know a lady that was told that. You don't need a license now.
I know all kinds of people have been.
Why wouldn't they tell you to go to the marijuana store, the dispensary?
Because we don't have them.
Because our retail stores can't talk medical, and patients have questions.
In Ontario, we have them.
They are illegally. They are not allowed to tell you anything medical about your cannabis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So don't get mad at the dispensaries either.
We only have one store in Ottawa that's a medical store in the whole country where a patient can go in and get a prescription and get their cannabis.
Whoa. Who's that?
It's in Ottawa. I had a friend that went. Actually, I sent him there. I'll have to send you the link.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Actually, he was a pharmacist. He'd been open for a year and a half, and he went and got his distribution license. He's got a vault there where he's got the cannabis to give the patient.
Len?
There is a weird, rare legal dealership license, but it's really complicated, and most people can't. Most businesses will never be able to make it work.
Really?
Hey, Alex, this is that breaking news.
Breaking news?
A fire's loud.
Yeah, the fire's loud. You can hear it, can you?
Did I answer your question with our issue with medical in Canada and recreational?
No, but it sounds like for medical purposes, because you can't go in and ask questions, you have to know what you're doing when you go in and get what you need.
Actually, great summary. No. That's the issue.
Or listen to shows like ours.
There are some
or
doctors that actually do know cannabis, and they will assist patients with dosages and things like that. But they're far and few between. So they rely on groups like Maritimers Unite for Medical Marijuana and things like that.
And Pace Radio and 420 Radio and
So patient advocate.
Yep.
Like patients come to my pharmacy, and it is very sad that I actually have a copy of the Nova Scotia liquor cannabis menu on my phone, and I have to tell them go get that product and take it this way.
And that's what I've been doing to a lot of patients is telling them which province has which dispensaries even have the products close to what I would recommend, and then the right dosage to use. Because they go and get these bottles of tincture and they have no idea how to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because nobody will tell them. So they're sitting there with a 60 ml bottle, and they don't know if they're supposed to drink the whole bottle or a tenth of a milliliter.
Or some people, I took 2 drops, I didn't do anything. No, you gotta take like 2 mils.
Yeah. Because it's a much lower dose than I would ever recommend to a patient.
don't understand that the difference
Exactly.
between 10 milligram or a 30 milligram per mil.
Yeah, people have a hard time doing math. They think, well, my doctor told me I should take a milliliter at a time. Well,
Yeah,
that's
of somebody
great.
else's product. They didn't know you bought the wrong thing.
Yeah, but you bought a 1-to-1 CBD ratio, and you're kind of wondering why you don't feel anything. Well, that's why you don't feel anything.
Sorry.
So where Health Canada has gone wrong is they are not encouraging doctors to brush up on it, use it. Like it's almost, I wouldn't say they're discouraging.
Who is Platinum?
They're definitely not.
Is that you, Tim?
Oh,
But it's because
But
Health
can
Canada
she jump on
won't
your network?
recognize cannabis as a medicine.
Oh, okay.
But they're going to run into a pickle, and this is where I kind of educate people all the time. For chronic pain, you almost have no choice now to use cannabis. There's not a whole lot of pharmaceuticals. People don't realize that.
Unless you want long-term addiction to go along with your pain.
Well, most doctors know they can't go to opiates. I'm going to tell everyone, if you're popping Advil every day, that is not good for you.
No, I'll tell you right now, your liver and your kidneys are going to hate you.
Don't worry about your liver. It's going to be your GI tract, your kidneys, and your blood pressure. So stop that. You got your pregabalin and gabapentins and amitriptylines. I'm not going to go through that right now, but they're no fun either.
Is my dog in there?
So now you're stuck. So I have my knee replacement person waiting 2 or 3 years for surgery. Yeah, I can do a little bit of topical Botox, things like that, but my arthritis is starting to get bad in my back. I had a little compression. You're getting limited to therapies is what I'm getting at. So honestly, a good physician or healthcare provider. And by the way, I'm a compounding pharmacist, so I have a few other tricks and other pharmacists and doctors don't know. And I'm still telling you, you're going to need cannabis at some point.
You know, my doctor, I was in my...
Because it works.
It works. It's
I'm
safe.
muted.
It can be done very, very titrated correctly. You're not stoned, as you guys all know, at your mind.
Yeah.
Like the people think. It's actually a really good product if you do it correctly.
I have a doctor. My doctor looked at me and said, I don't understand how you're doing so well, and smiled at me, knowing that's the cannabis. And then just a couple of weeks ago, he jokingly said, because my AC1 was really low and I was having some issues, and he says, I'm going to have to write a paper about you and your use of cannabis and type 2 diabetes and controlling it. And, so...
He doesn't need to write a paper. There's all kinds of...
No, I realize that. He was joking, and he knows that. But, I mean, it just made me feel good because when I've been seeing this doctor for almost 30 years, and back then when I started, he knew nothing about dosing, nothing. And now he's learning, and so many other doctors are as well, is what I'm getting at. Right? But not enough.
Well,
Not
and
enough.
here's the other thing doctors will tell you: there's no evidence or no evidence, and blah blah blah.
Yep.
And maybe even if they could say there's no big randomized control trial, but pardon the pun, if there's smoke, there's fire. There's quite a few thousands, if not millions, of people using cannabis to treat themselves
And not saying anything. Yeah, and they don't say anything. They're just doing it.
No, but eventually you kind of gotta. Geez, it's like there must be something to this.
Yep.
That's what we've said for years. It's anecdotal if 1 or 2 people say they get relief from cannabis, but if 10,000 people,
the problem is it's not 1 or 2.
Right? If 10,000 people say it, then it's called proof in practice.
Yeah.
Right?
Beyond
because
that, though, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Oh, it's way beyond that.
Steve?
But it's.
So, go ahead and finish, Marcel. I just had a thought, and I wanted to ask Steve something. But go ahead and finish.
No, go ahead, ask him.
Well,
I'm curious. You'll forget, Al.
Yeah, no, I've already forgotten. I was just curious to know. I mean, you've been in this industry for a long time. What are your thoughts as far as then and now, and the differences? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of good happening now, but I mean, back when Machillam was just starting his research, and High Times was the shit, and then all these other magazines, Skunk and Celeb Stoner and this and that come along, and now there's thousands. Yeah, the thousands of sources that you can go and find the information that once was only available in magazines like Skunk and High Times, is what I'm getting at.
That's true. It has been an explosion of marijuana media, even in just the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, High Times, one of the unique things about High Times, we really didn't have any competition. It was pre-cannabis culture and skunk, and then cannabis culture came along. But I mean, the first few years, High Times was used to pretty much, hey, whatever we said goes.
Yeah. So
everybody read anything we wrote, and then some other magazines came around, and it was good. And these were Canadian companies, a lot of them.
Yep.
Things were moving ahead pretty quickly in Canada, maybe a little faster than here. And U.S., there really wasn't much competition on the print side for High Times. Really, it was really Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, now maybe Cannabis Now, and I don't know what else would really be considered
there's
High Times, but so that's not really where it's at, because print media is a little bit dying, in some ways, and hanging on like vinyl. But but it's yeah, but it's really more about digital media, and that's where it's a very crowded environment, and you have to really find a place for yourself and really work hard to do it. But the beauty of it, like, I can just me and myself and the help of a webmaster, just put together a website that you could provide a lot of information and people might be interested in. So you can do it very macro and don't need a lot of help, and you can just do your own thing and don't have a boss. So there's something good about that, but you're not going to make $100,000 a year either. Not saying that's what I made at High Times, but you're not going to make media salary.
I've been doing this 12 years. I haven't made a fucking dime. So, but you know what? I mean, my philosophy, and Marcel knows this. My philosophy. Marcel's been with me going on 6, 7, maybe 8 years now, I guess. And
we've been fucking married.
Yeah, bitch. I've always been of the mind, Steve, that if one person walks away with a little bit of information that helps them out of a show that we've done, I'm okay with that. So I've got 12 years of crap out there, and I've got 12 years of some good stuff out there, but it's all entertaining and informative.
Well, let me also sing the praises of radio, like your show and Cannabis Radio and other programs out there doing radio work related to cannabis for years. High Times had a show too back in the day.
Yes, they did. Yep.
With Callum Francis. So I mean, we were dipping into all those things back then too, to see where things were going. All this, all these Zoom meetings and stuff are really great.
I love this.
For inviting me, it's really it's holding our community together, I believe. Without being able to go places and go to conferences and see faces that you might see once a year or once every few years or whatever.
Yes.
Now we can see each other all the time, if we want to. So it's kind of cool. I really think, that's a silver lining.
I find it funny for me because I came out of the 90s porn business and monitoring webcam sites and stuff like that back in the 90s, and now everybody's gone back to webcams. It's kind of weird, because there was a space there when nobody was webcamming or anything.
Another shout out would be the podcasts.
Yep.
Podcasts. A lot of good podcasts out there, and that's been really occupying people's time during COVID.
It is.
So, I mean, it's been sort of a good time for the media in a sense during COVID, because people had a lot of time to just give me something to take my mind off of everything. Give me it doesn't have to be escapist stuff. It's just just provide some information, and I'll sit down with you.
It's also community.
It's fairly free.
Yep.
I mean, we have to find ways to monetize it, but down the road we will. I mean, already everybody's putting these little donation things on their screens and doing things, and I think our economy is moving more into that. I started a Patreon account. We're just doing things, to try and share the money around a little bit.
Yeah. It's things like Patreon. I watch a lot of channels on YouTube, DIY stuff, and a few other things, and they're a lot of them are using Patreon. I haven't even looked at it yet because that's not my thing. But I hear it's doing good things. Hey, Kurt, you're really quiet over there. You got anything you want to ask or add?
Well, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Okay, very good. No, I think it's just great to have Steve here, and because he's got so much experience that if we all listen, there are lessons to be learned, or just great entertainment. By the way, thanks for your celeb stoner informed me that Saint Dog from Cottonmouth Kings passed away. I learned about all the rock and roll obits from Celeb Stoner.
It always brings back a memory. My memory on Saint Dog was that I really knew the Cottonmouth Kings guys pretty well. I mean, they loved High Times. They came about kind of in the heels of Cypress Hill, and there was
Yes.
sort of like one Cypress Hill. They never quite made it to that level, but they really did. Toured a lot, and they were just super friends of High Times. Played the Cannabis Cop. I remember the first time they came up to the office. It was when Saint was in the band, and it was only, he was in and out real fast, and then he came back at the end. But he only with them for like one album. That first album, which is great, and he was really key on that album. Like he was like the lead rapper on that album. If you watch the video I played, the Bump video, he's the first guy, bald. He really takes the song, he gets it going in the beginning. Anyway, they were came up to the office. They were thrilled to be at High Times, like so many bands would be, or just people in general. Walking up and down the hallways, looking at things, blah blah. That guy, he had such swagger. He didn't have a shirt on. He was in our office. Okay, we're at High Times, but no shirt, and his jeans are like down to his it's like down to his butt, and he's just swaggering around the office. That's what I think back to him. I think of that swagger of that guy that day in the office. Like he didn't give a fuck. Just like I said, we're Cottonmouth Kings.
Yeah.
I think we on Zoom and we don't give a fuck. Like that. So I really dug them, but I lost track of him. I got friendly with most of that band, Pakalika. The guy who did the dance moves. The dancer in the band.
Yes.
That guy was the most advocate of everybody in that group, and he was such a character. He died a few years ago. He had kind of a. But they were fun. But they also had a weird thing with the band. They had a falling out. They had an inner rivalry thing happened.
I remember that. Yep, they went back in the day. They were very kind to send us music for the show and for the station, and they were always sending us stuff. And unfortunately, we saw all of that go on. Unfortunately, but they kind of just dropped out of the way for a little while, and then they come back, and then they drop out of the way again, and then they come back. But they've.
It was a big fight between Brad and
yeah,
the suburban noise and rights to everything, and Brad kind of
band shit.
Tried to take everything over. I think I lost touch with Brad. I was always friendly with him. Brad Daddy X, who was sort of the lead rapper after Saint stepped away, and then it was always D-Loc, and then Johnny Richter joined. But they were having a lot of problems. They kicked Pakalika out of the group. I think they were running out of money. They had too many people, and they had to kind of, you can't be with us anymore.
Yeah.
They said they were him. It was just business, but it got like that, and then Richter left. He quit, and that's when I kind of lost touch with them. And I realized, then I heard all this tumult was happening in terms of fighting over rights to things, and I don't know. I still think the guy Kevin Zinger, who was the manager, still involved with Suburban Noise. I just lost touch with him over the years, but they used to come through New York once a year, so I'd always hang with them that one time.
There's a lot of bands out of that era that are not around anymore that I wish were different genres, of course. That we used to get music for that I still play. I wish there was a lot of people around that aren't around anymore.
Who are you referring to?
I can't remember the name of the band right now. Crap. There was a band that it was a bunch of guys out of high school that they were playing and having fun, and then the lead singer decided to become clergy or something like that, and then the band fell apart, but they were doing really well, that kind of thing. And there's so many of them like that came out of the 90s that are around but not really anymore.
Yeah, I have a funny story to tell, a Canadian story. At High Times.
No, Deadbeats Inc. That's the name of the band. Deadbeats Inc. Deadbeats Inc.
I don't know them.
They were around for a couple of years and then went poof, unfortunately. Anyways, you had a story.
So does anybody out there know the name Sebastian Bach?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just
a little.
half an hour from here. He's from half an hour from here.
Exactly. So Sebastian, it's probably one of the things, I was up at High Times and being the music editor, among other things, it expanded my musical taste a little bit. I wasn't really a big metal guy, but, there were a lot of other metal people up at High Times, and they kind of would, like Sebastian Bach was somebody I brought to High Times, was somebody else introduced him because he was really into weed and he wanted to meet people. And so through somebody who wanted to introduce him, brought him up to the office one day, and he really got a kick out of the whole thing. And it led to him doing a cover story and me getting to know him pretty well and getting kind of friendly with Sebastian. They called him Bass. And so there was a Canadian Music Week in like 93, because he was on the cover in 93. So it must have been 93 or 94. And we got invited up to do a panel discussion that focused on marijuana with me and Sebastian on the panel. And it was a real blast. We were having a lot of fun. And people started yelling out to us during the panel, "Smoke it up, light it up, light it up." And Sebastian lit one up, and they shut the panel down right then and there.
Oh, man.
They just like, okay, this is over. It was towards the end when we lit up. So it wasn't like they cut it off in the beginning. But it was kind of, okay, you guys are done. That was funny.
I like hearing stories from people who have been around the community for a long time. I've become personally friendly with Paul Hartman over the last couple of years, and he is hilarious. And the stories that he tells about his brother Phil are also hilarious, and their lives together and growing up in the pot industry, but in the radio industry, but in the music industry, like he was in all these, that whole family, is amazing. The Hartmans.
Well, you sort of, when you bring up, it just makes my mind just jump to something else, which is sort of Canadian humor and comedy. Second City and SCTV.
They've just closed the Second City restaurant and show here.
During COVID?
No, permanently. After 47 years.
And Upright Citizen Brigade Theater closed in New York recently. So
we used to go to the Second City Fire Hall in Toronto every year for my birthday growing up, and now it's nice to see a lot of people, a lot of the comedians that were part of the Second City touring group are now on Schitt's Creek and other shows. They've been around for a long. Ron James is very big.
Catherine O'Hara, they've all kind of had a kind of rejuvenated careers.
It's an all Canadian cast and crew.
Right. I haven't watched that show. Is it like the Great Canadian Comedy Show?
You should watch it. It's fucking hilarious, dude.
Why am I missing it? Is that on Amazon only?
It's on Netflix. The whole thing's on Netflix,
Yeah.
Steve.
I just want to say, even the pilot episode
Was hilarious. Like from
the first episode, you get such a story. Like it should have won an Emmy in my opinion.
it has won. It won an Emmy. It won an Emmy this year.
Just the pilot alone should have won an Emmy. There's been a few sitcoms that have won Emmys on their pilot, like Cheers, Modern Family. I think that Schitt's Creek is that good. You should absolutely at least take time and watch the first episode.
I found the first. What's that?
How many seasons so far?
I think there's 4 seasons, or 3, 4, 5, something like that. But the first season I found kind of sleepy, but then from the second season on, it's your typical Eugene Levy one-liners, one after another, with Catherine O'Hara backing him up as she's been doing for years, and then you throw their kids in with that.
Her kid too, not just his?
No, it's his daughter and his son, who I think co-write and star in it with him, and then Catherine O'Hara, and there's Chris Elliott is in it, and he's hilarious. He plays the mayor of Schitt's Creek. Yeah.
I don't know how I sort of missed all this. I know it's been doing well, but I just missed it as far as watching the show.
Have you watched Canadian comedy shows? There's a lot of them.
Well, like I told you, going back, I was a huge fan of SCTV. That
Yep.
ranks maybe my favorite TV comedy show of all time. And
Yeah.
that's saying a lot. Me and my friends back in the 70s, we'd watch SNL.
That's all we did in the 70s.
Yeah, watched SCTV.
You guys watched it, but we had like back-to-back SNL and SCTV from say 11:30 to 2 at night, and so we just kind of would bunker down and just watch 2.5 hours or 3 hours of comedy.
In Toronto in the 70s, we had the pleasure of seeing John Candy and crew running around the city of Toronto doing skits, which was quite amusing. I remember coming out of the Toronto Humane Society with a new puppy, okay, and I look across the street at a sex shop where they're filming the John Candy skit where he's like got a snake on his face and all that, and it's fucking he's standing there in full costume. So I mean, Toronto has Toronto has a certain flair that no other city will ever have. I mean, New York has New York as well.
Speaking about New York, you know what upset me? Rick Moranis got assaulted in New York recently.
I heard that. Yep.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
They got Bill Burr who did the for SNL last week, and he made a joke out of that. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if anybody saw that. Anybody see that?
No, I'm not. You know what? I got to be honest. I'm not a big fan of SNL. I never have been.
Yeah. I've never watched Schitt's
I don't know
Creek.
if it's happened in the news.
I've never watched
If it's happened in the news, I haven't watched. I don't know what's going on because I haven't been paying attention to the news.
It's called
I've
Netflix.
Been writing.
Lenny's big into watching the news too.
What's
Bill Burr, the stand-up
You're
comic
big into
Steve's
watching the
referring
news.
to. He's rough.
Yeah, right.
He's from Boston, I think.
Bill Burr? I actually like Bill Burr.
Or he moved
but that's
to
what
LA
he does. He pushes the envelope.
Yeah, he does. It's kind of his thing.
He said a lot of stupid things.
Yeah, also not a fan. I'm a huge fan of Letterman though. I love David Letterman.
I heard he was coming back with a special.
He has a new show on Netflix, and he's done 4 seasons already, and it's fucking amazing. He walks on stage and he has a conversation with somebody. That's what I like about Letterman. He's a conversationalist. He has a conversation with somebody, but he gets those questions in, and he aims people where he wants them to go. Right?
I think right now, I think I think Colbert and Seth Meyers have been very strong.
I miss Craig. Craig Ferguson.
Yeah, I'm sort of more currently, who's been sort of making,
Yeah.
I think, a decent impact out there on the late night side of things.
Trevor Noah.
Yeah, Trevor Noah, exactly. Trevor Noah's been great too. Exactly. Big up to Trevor Noah. You just need those voices to pull them away. Just take a break and watch the fire.
Yeah, let's just watch. Can you really hear it, eh? You can really hear the fire.
I think it's time. Is it time for a music break?
I can really feel it over here, Al.
Yeah, but I'm ready to turn up the light and we'll see how it feels.
I've been watching the video of the fire. And
I'm fine now, thanks, Tim.
Further and further away from it.
Oh, my ass is burning, man.
I hope your phone's not. I hope your phone's not melting.
Same here. Holy fuck, my pants are.
So, Steve, I want to make sure because Steve said he wanted to hang out for an hour, and I want to make sure that he gets a plug and if he wants to throw a shout out or talk about anything that's coming up.
I got a question for him.
Oh,
Or
okay.
does he want to hang out for another hour?
Yeah.
Al
has a question for him.
You've got an ongoing thing with the Women of Cannabis, something to do with people being nominated, and it lists something started at it's obviously 0, and it's up to about 1,500 women have been names have been submitted into there to help promote what they've been doing.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'm on that list.
Yeah, thanks for asking about that.
I'm not.
It kind of came on the heels of an award presentation that was given to people on 420 for 420 icons, and it had a very significant shortage of women among the 100 that they honored. I was among those 100, and I kind of was offended by how few women were on the list, less than 10. And so I told them that I would like to give up my place for a woman, and they kind of were offended that I was even bringing it up. I was like, it's not my right to even say anything.
Wow.
It's like, you ain't got boobs. Shut the fuck up.
So I basically wrote an article like why I'm giving back the award that I would blah blah, and sort of got that going. That kind of got
Bubba.
about that. But basically, my thought was that most of these lists just leave out so many really great, women. And there's a lot of lists on women, especially these days. And so if you're going to do lists, to do it right. And so my idea was just to sort of, okay, well, my response to all of that was I'm going to put together a list of women in cannabis who've done, significant, whatever. They have a role in cannabis in some shape or form as advocates in the business, having been arrested, having been in the media, telling their story, whatever it may be. So many people in medicine, nurses. So I seeded it with 500 women. I just basically combed through, people I know, combed through Facebook, went through like articles that had lists already, and checked names and just to see who is who. If I didn't know, a lot of the women I don't know, and just went over to just make sure, like just verify, look it up, who's who, and look her up in Facebook or just search. And most of the searches we found that the woman, should be listed. And so I just, and then I released it on, I did an article on Celeb Stoner. I put it out there on Facebook, and people just started nominating more and more women like crazy, especially the first couple of weeks. I was so busy those first couple of weeks with keeping up with an onslaught of candidates and nominees and stuff. It was people caring so much to do that, but they gave me a lot of work. And so I tried to keep up going over comments on the website and comments on Facebook and here, there, and everywhere. And I hopefully I put it together right and just added everybody. And so that kind of came up over 1,000. And then I did another round, and it kind of is gradually built to 1,500. So
wow,
it's kind of good. I mean, I could probably get to higher than that, but but I just like this last round that I just put it out there after several months. I didn't get that many requests. I guess I covered a lot of the women out there. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch.
Oh yeah. There's always somebody out there. There's always another lady who's been working hard. The women were instrumental in the end of alcohol prohibition. Mothers, whatever, wives of people, and the same thing is happened here with the cannabis end, where there's people going to jails and stuff, and they've been dealing with it. And not only that, but there's all the education and stuff. They're all getting involved in the industry. Here in Canada, we have a licensed producer. I believe it's an all-female crew that's involved in that.
What's interesting is I actually seen that post. I was tagged in that post by many different women, and I'm proud to say that I am on that list. And what was interesting to me was to see how many women actually tagged other women in this uplifting, trying to lift other women up. It was really beautiful to see that there wasn't this negativity when it comes to, because like women are very catty. We all know this. We say we're not, but we are. It's not just men we have issues with. It's women too.
What was
right?
that, Lenny?
I never heard that ever.
But it was nice to see.
When's this?
Breaking news. Dot.
The real news is actually the fact that women came together to make this list. So thank you very much, Steve, from me and all of the women on that list, because that list is an amazing list, and I'm proud to know a lot of those women.
Well, also the way I sort of did it makes it very inclusive. It's it's not a lot of space. It doesn't everybody's name. It's very sort of democratic, and it's not. What bothered me was how so many women friends of mine were getting excluded. I mean, really major players. I mean, I look at someone like LB Musika. Everybody knows her, but she's the glaucoma patient who's been getting medical marijuana from the U.S. government since 1988.
Yep.
How she could be forgotten, blows my mind. And, or even Jody Emery, your own Jody. She was not on that list of 100 of icons. I mean, of 420 icons, people have been around doing a lot for years. Jody Emery, not on that list. Shocking. Did I touch a nerve here on the Emerys?
No. Jody's a wonderful person.
I was just waiting for you to drop more names. Actually, I thought you.
Actually,
the third woman that upset me, and it's a friend of mine, Debbie Goldsberry, has been around the industry for years, and she runs Magnolia Wellness in Oakland. She started with a patients group. She started.
Debbie's great.
Work with friends in the 90s, and how do you not know about her? So I see a lot of these lists, and they're excluding. Those are my three that I always look for. So where are they? If they're not there, there's something wrong with this list.
So how do people get like as far as nominating? What's the process? They just go to your website and
just basically Facebook is listed. People basically I ask who's missing, or please add whatever. Now it's like I just say who's missing because we got a lot. So help me out, So I can't do it all myself. So help me out here. I opened it up. I made it interactive, and I thought that would be a better way to do it, and it seemed to work, and I never had done that before, right. But I just seemed to work, and maybe a lot of new friends in the industry, a lot of people, obviously females in a lot of cases, but I've met a lot of new people, and that was sort of good. I'm happy about that. I like all kinds of people. I like women, and so that was nice to meet so many new women as well in the industry and learn a little bit more about them. So I didn't really anticipate how it would go, but I was just trying to make a little statement and make it more inclusive. But I will just joke that there might be some disagreement. There were a couple of people who complained about a couple of people on the list. There were a couple of complaints. So-and-so shouldn't be on the list for this reason or that.
Wow.
I didn't get too many complaints. I got a few. I took a few people off just so I didn't upset people. But I tried to stay away from those things and just try and include everybody, unless I don't know what it is that their crime is that they don't belong on the list. But it's got to be really bad.
A lot of haters out there, unfortunately.
Yeah. All that stuff. So I
was waiting for that.
Less than 5, a handful of people, maybe I might have taken off the list out of
good
hundreds. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So pretty friendly. But
good.
I need to hang around if the other stuff you want to talk about.
Sure.
Company with everybody is a nice crowd, and I do like the fire.
I appreciate that, Steve. Thank you.
So it's hot, man. It's hot.
You see, and this is what happens. They all. You'll be back next week, Steve.
It's like Hotel California. You can.
So we're going to take a quick break.
You never leave.
We're going to take a quick break and a prick break. I'm going to mute everybody's mic here, and we'll be right back. This is the 420 Radio Show. We are live here at my new place out in Trent Hills, Ontario.
I had
What's
a
up?
question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
A question for Steve.
All right.
Just a very quick question. Steve, are you hanging out with us for another hour?
I'm trying to make it. I was trying to watch like a movie screening, and that's the only reason I was breaking away.
Oh, which movie?
Believe it or not, it's a movie about Herb Alpert.
Oh, that might be interesting.
Herb Alpert? Just some documentary. I like music documentaries, and so
me as well. I just watched the Dolly Parton one.
Records, right?
I'm a '60s guy, so I grew up with Herb Alpert.
Can we watch it with you from here? Okay. This is my first time doing Zoom, so I don't know.
Yeah. Al's used to Skype.
I'm gonna cue it up right now while you do your break.
Okay, and I was just trying to say there, I just watched the new Dolly Parton documentary on Netflix. It was actually quite interesting. This is the 420 Radio Show. We'll be right back. Oh, no, maybe we won't be. Maybe. There we go.
I'm already into the 420, damn it.
My mouse and computer is all... It's moist. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Hang on. I gotta fix this thing here. Keep talking for a minute.
There's moistly.
No, we're not. We're not on mute, and I'm just trying to fix this here.
Oh, we're still on air?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my legs are still burning.
Okay, let's try this again.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking like the Doodah Man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on.
Arrows of neon and flashing marquees out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and it's all on the same street. A typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings.
Dallas got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York got the ways and means and just won't let you be.
Most of the cats that you meet on the street speak of true love. Most of the time they're sitting and crying at home. One of these days they know they gotta get going. Out of the door and down to the street all alone.
Trucking like a Doodah Man once told me you got to pay your hand. Sometimes the cards ain't worth a dime if you don't lay 'em down. Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me, what a long, strange trip it's been.
What in the world ever became of Sweet Jane? She lost her sparkle, you know she isn't the same. Living on reds, vitamin C and cocaine. All a friend can say is ain't it a shame?
Looking up the buffalo, been thinking we got to mellow slow. It takes time to pick a place to go and just keep trucking on.
Sitting and staring out of the hotel window. Got a tip they're gonna kick the door in again. I'd like to get some sleep before I travel, but if you got a warrant, I guess you're gonna come in.
Busted down on Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin. Knocked down, it gets to wearing thin. They just won't let you be.
You're sick of hanging around and you like to travel. Get tired of traveling, you want to settle down. I guess I can't revoke your soul for trying. Get out of the door, light out and look all around.
Sometimes the light's all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me, what a long, strange trip it's been. Trucking, I'm going home. Whoa, whoa, baby, back where I belong. Back home, sit down and patch my bones and get back trucking. Oh, 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 oh.
Hey, this is Cheech. And this is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Hang up and try again.
And we are back. This is the 420 Radio Show. We're live here at 420radio.ca. Steve Bloom, thank you very much for joining us. We'll have you back again. He had to run. We are sitting here with Al Graham. Hello, Al, who's eating a sandwich. Gonna make him talk with his mouth full.
Yeah.
He literally just said he was trying to hide because he was eating his sandwich. He didn't want to be on camera. Way to point him out, Al.
I'm back.
So
it's a little cooler back. It's a little cooler back here.
So on a different note, I just want to point out somebody tonight called me a unicorn. I am not a unicorn. It's time for a little bit of an education lesson, okay?
I thought it was a cow.
No, how dare you?
Well, no.
Okay.
The
I have
not
wings.
You. The costume.
I have wings and a horn. So here's the education lesson.
Well, maybe the horn made me think it was you're a bull.
If you are a horse, but you
put
have
more
a
on,
horn,
Tim. We have another hour to go.
Okay, listen. If you're a horse and you have a horn,
You're of course. You're a unicorn.
Okay. If you are
If you have two horns, you're a quad unicorn. No, a double unicorn.
If you have wings and no horn,
Dual.
What are you?
If you what?
Does anybody know? If you're a horse and you have wings but no horn,
Pegasus.
what are you? Yeah.
Pissed off unicorn?
That's the Pegasus isn't a breed. It's like the name of that particular horse.
I thought it was a car.
Okay. Okay, but what is a horse
Of
with
course.
wings and a horn?
A Unisys?
No.
Magical horse?
It's an alicorn.
Oh.
Isn't that awesome? I think it's awesome because
Hi, I'm Al.
now there's 3 alicorns.
I can't believe I pushed this show on my social media. Oh my god. I'm
Sorry I
kidding.
was late, but if I missed anything, start over.
Hey, Marcel.
Yes, sir.
I'm building one of those brick and mortar cannabis medical pharmacies above my Willow Street.
Well, I was just reading that just before I left.
I always could. It's going to
it's
cost
called-
me about $100,000.
Yeah, I posted the article on my wall if anybody wants to
I
see it.
know. There's one in Moncton actually. He just doesn't do it.
This one here is Hybrid Farm.
Is that something you would consider doing at your pharmacy, Len?
Oh, you're going to see it next year, sir.
Okay, awesome. I'm so proud of you, buddy. Go for it.
Oh, I just someone give me $200,000, please.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you should. I'm sorry, you should have asked me about 6 months ago.
When you've been seeing me do this, that's been me, like my phone up tonight. That's me raising the money. Don't worry.
Looking for money, eh? Yeah. So if there's any investors out there, get a hold of Lenny W. at 222-11421.
No, here's what it is. I understand what Al mentioned earlier. A pharmacy can do it, but they got to meet all the standards of the Cannabis Act, meaning they need the crazy ass security system, fucking big ass vault.
Yeah.
And it's not retail; it's only medical only. So
Isn't that what Shoppers is doing?
Yeah, but that's just online. That's just online.
Yeah, but Shoppers just selling shit online.
Okay, they're not. Are they going to be entering that into the store at some point? Do you think?
They can, but it's big renovation. It's expensive.
Yeah.
That's why even giant ass Shoppers didn't do it, right? Because it's expensive.
Yeah.
You're doing it to one store versus multiple. Look at how many stores Shoppers has. You imagine converting all those?
Think about this.
Marcel knows where I'm doing mine.
Yeah. Think about this. They have to have security in place for narcotics like morphine, Dilaudid, Percocet.
No, they don't.
But no, ideally they're supposed to or should.
No,
it should be locked up. Yeah.
No, but what I mean is the security system for a pharmacy is very basic. The security system for an LP is not very basic.
So but you've already got security. You got everything. You got shit that can kill somebody in your pharmacy, but yet they won't let you have weed in there. That ain't gonna kill nobody.
No.
That's fucking bullshit, man.
It's hypocrisy.
They'll
I'm not
let you
denying
in
it.
there, but you need to have certain things.
You need to have $1 million worth of fucking security on top of the security of the security that you have.
Here, Al, you're a normal looking guy. Go up to any LP to the front gate and ask them if you can have a tour.
You can't. No, I know. I've already tried. I asked Matt Murnaugh if I could get a tour when he was up at what do you call it there in yeah, and he said not highly likely.
Okay, so then go to Pfizer and ask if you can have a tour.
And they'd probably give you one.
And they'll look at the schedule and book it.
So this is how it happens. So any pharmacy can do it based on that cannabis. Like they can do it based on that article. But I have to probably put in a crazy security system, which will be tens of thousands of dollars. It's probably going to be a major, large vault. Like not a door, like a vault.
Walking into a bank vault, yeah.
I am the pharmacy staff that would work there would probably at least have to get security.
Can I make you a suggestion there, Len? Buy an old bank. Vault's already there.
Thank you.
No, that's cheap. Marcel knows I got 1,000 square feet above my pharmacy. He's got
a perfect spot, and I'll probably be there on evenings and weekends.
I think I'm going to do it. So I don't know. But that's the issue. It's the money.
I'm in for helping. Well, not with that part, but I'm in for helping everything else.
And the other part of it is once you build it out, then you're going to wait 6 months to Health Canada to give you the license.
Yeah,
So it might be
that's the other
20
problem.
Excuse me, I'm going to mute my mouth.
But it is theoretically possible. Like that, I always knew it was. And that article kind of confirmed exactly my theory. So.
Yeah, and it said something about it. They've been able to do that for a few years now. But like I said, there's a lot involved in order for you to be able to do that. Yeah, it is. And if it's set up now where you have to get all that stuff before approval, it's a lot to invest without a guarantee you're going to receive it.
And
but
don't
I think
forget,
also
it's retail only. It's not retail, guys. That's the other thing.
It's not. That's right.
You need a medical document, and if you don't have a prescriber, like it's not like the liquor store. It's like, woo, I can go sell to everybody. It's medical patients. But
I could always set up a doctor's office next door.
Well, I kind of got the line on that too. So
yeah.
That lattice burned quick. Sorry.
Yeah, lattice doesn't burn long.
No. What we're burning is part of the field. Who was here? The people who were here before me left a whole bunch of, basically a greenhouse, and we're burning it because they
So
ripped.
Are you going to start hosting cannabis festivals there?
Maybe not festivals, but maybe small gatherings. Possibly.
Why not festivals? How many acres you got there?
1.
Oh.
That's all you need.
Little bit more. Little bit more than 1.
Yeah, but you need a lot more than 1.
I don't have parking, so I think what's going to happen is we're going to have small groups, cannabis-friendly groups, weddings, things like that. This spring, we're going to try it anyways, and do retreats and possibly some broadcasts with Al and other people.
So are you going to move there?
Eventually, I'm building a house here. Yes.
It's going to be the new home of the 420 radio location.
Yep.
But you haven't committed to a house yet or anything there, so you're still living in your apartment.
I have my apartment in the city. Yeah.
That's a hell of a commute, isn't it?
No, it's only an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we're really close.
Oh, I thought you were further than that.
No. But anyways, enough about me. So yeah, I mean the stars are amazing here. I got to say that.
That's the thing, You don't have all the city lights or anything.
It is absolutely. If the fire was not on, the only lights you would see is on my gate, and because the camper's not even on. The lights are. The dog's probably fast asleep.
Where's the camper?
It's over that way.
Al does,
Okay,
Al's,
it's over there. Okay.
Al's there and doesn't know where the camper is.
You can't see over
You
the
can't
fire.
see it. You can't see anything.
You can't see it.
Every now and then a car goes by. You see the lights.
I saw the lights going behind.
Fire, that's it.
There goes
Wow.
one now. You'll see one now. Oh, no, you didn't see it.
No, it's
Yeah.
gone.
But anyways, so Darcy's not here, is he? Is Darcy there? Hello,
Oh,
Darcy. Darcy. Hello, Darcy. Darcy.
Where's there?
Yo, Darce. You're up, buddy.
Darcy.
It's your
I gotta wake
turn.
He's been pressing, and I don't know why he turned off his video, but
We wanted to see some pressing. And Kurt is back. Hello, Kurt. Welcome
Hey,
back.
guys.
Did you
Darcy's
fall
back.
down?
Well, kinda.
Oh, Darcy, are you there? Hello, Al.
Don't start that shit again. Where's your video,
I
Darcy?
think there's an echo in here.
Give me a second. Jesus Christ, impatient people.
Impatient.
We-
We're only on a time schedule, Darce.
It is a live show.
I did try and take up time by talking about me, but nobody wanted to hear it.
Yeah, enough about you, you darn unicorn, you.
Alicorn.
Oh, alicorn.
What?
Learn nothing. This
It's a
is
Mary
an
Jane
educational
corn.
show.
Something's
Come on.
corny over there in that seat. That's what's going on.
She's dressed. It's all candy, cotton candy colors.
And she's got Gary
No,
beside
she
her.
said-
Nobody's
she said
even
she
noticed
wasn't a
Gary.
unicorn.
Oh, we haven't talked about Gary.
I have Larry at home. I haven't brought him up yet.
Oh.
Yeah, he's keeping Steven company. He sleeps with him.
Hey, how's the vision, Gary, at nighttime?
Sorry.
He's got some stuff.
They forgot. Yeah, they forgot to open up his mouth. Prick.
Gary has no mouth
Before
or
Darcy
nose.
has
That's
a
why
thing,
he doesn't have to wear a
Did we
mask.
ever talk about Lifting Co. since we've been on
Yes.
going bankrupt? We did talk about that?
Well,
didn't
we
talk about Lyft.
we weren't going bankrupt. Lyft and Co. are going bankrupt.
No, I think they went bankrupt. Like,
That's
they
what
went
that's what the article said. Yes, I find that actually kind of surprising.
And they couldn't get anybody to buy their that can sell thing for the training
'cause it-
for staff for stores.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were in talks with a U.S. company wanting to buy it, and they backed out. So there
They're
is
done.
No more.
It ended.
Which is-
can't-
You know,
can't
they
have events.
they
But
put
it's
on some
too
good
bad.
events. I gotta say, they were about as close as you could get to treating yourself at one point, and then they went very corporate.
Correct. Yeah. Those first early years,
Yeah.
there was some. They had talked about
They-
dispensaries and stuff.
But you
like
know
that
what-
that were
Exactly.
available.
They basically came in and took over for Marco not for Marco because he wasn't a part of it, but they took over that
idea about-
space.
Correct.
The treating
yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is the opportunity that if Marco wants
To come in and
come back and do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it would be awesome if Marco pulled off another treating himself.
You know what? He wanted to, but I think there was some other things going on that kind of finagled
there's
that
some
out of the
issues.
way.
Well, there's some issues with the name too, isn't there?
Well, the treating yourself name was switched over to a fellow by the name of Andrew Shaw.
Right.
And it was hit with him for a while, and now it's gone back to Marco. And Marco, yeah, he was talking about doing another expo, but this one was going to be in Mexico. And not in Canada. It was going to be in Mexico. So
Is it maybe it's just my ignorance, but like I feel like the gray market events like Karma Cup, like what you're talking. I
Yeah.
never got to go to treating yourself,
And-
so
and
to
then-
me, I thought treating yourself was like gray market more than corporate. Like Lyft was like, oh my
Treating-
god,
the
I felt
treat-
so out of place.
The Treating Yourself Expo was the first ever cannabis event to happen on a provincially owned property or a city owned property.
federal, isn't it?
Oh, okay,
Toronto
federal.
Convention-
Was it federal?
building. federal building.
Yeah, and now
What was the feel like?
There was press from all over the world that
Yep.
first year.
It was huge.
But what was the feeling like? Was it like a?
It was a
Karma Cup type
fucking
feeling?
party.
It wasn't like
No, it was a party. It was a celebration. Everybody was standing out front. There was no arguments. People were walking around. There were sales.
What
Mary
about
Jane?
weed stock? Do you remember weed stock?
But Mary
the
Jane,
CNE? Was it
if
like
you really
that?
wanted, no,
Sorry,
better. But Mary Jane, if you really wanted to compare it, because you were at Lyft in Toronto, right? It would be the complete opposite of what Lyft was.
Think of the Karma Cup the last couple of years with the festival and all that.
Yeah.
And the competition.
That was treating yourself.
That was basically treating yourself in a parking lot instead of in a. And there's legitimate companies in both.
Mm-hmm.
But see, and this is why I feel like we won't have an expo like that, because our government has set up all these regulations, just like why Lenny's saying, it's going to cost so much money for him to open up this thing.
He hears his voice, his head pops up.
The government makes these events almost
Like,
impossible
Lenny?
for people like us to enjoy. It's got to be like corporate, and it's got to be like
Well,
companies
here's the
that we're
unfortunate
at
part.
live.
Here's the unfortunate part. Okay, A, it's legal now, and B, unless it is a gray market event, you're not going to have the party atmosphere. You're not even going to have any cannabis there. At the legal events, at the legal events, you cannot have any product whatsoever.
That's right. Back at TY Expo, we had full-size grown plants.
We were smoking out of fucking volcanoes down in the basement.
Oh, well, they had a 4,600 square foot vapor lounge.
That's what I mean,
Five different vapor companies. Oh, yeah.
But wait,
12 volcanoes that first year.
Anytime I ever went to Lyft, it was like any company I went to talk to, the minimum, like I was like, okay, for example, security company, cameras. I'm like, what's the smallest system you have? They're like, oh, well, we run the security system at the Toronto airport. So the smallest system we have is this. And I'm like, that's like over $100,000. They're not marketing to people like me.
But they're not. But that's the thing: is Lyft was not designed for you. Lyft
It was corporate.
Designed for
corporate
companies. We went
but
as
that's
a
what
company.
I mean, like,
whereas
look
TY
at things
Expo
like
was
Karma Cup.
organized by patients for patients. That's
Right.
where the TY Expo was done.
But if you look at, I'm saying for like Karma
Tim.
Cup, last year, Sarah had to
Can you
move
get me a
locations
drink?
in the middle of the weekend
Some apple
because
juice.
of
Thanks, bud.
issues with, because of legality, she had to find a specific space and not tell anybody until like, and this is the frustrating part. When are we going to be able to be allowed to have festivals in the
Never.
manner that we
See,
want to have?
back in the days of the TY Expo, and Kurt and I met there in person more than once. There was no law. It was illegal. It was only medical cannabis. So ever since legalization, laws have been put in place in order to prevent things like what we're discussing about what we used to do back in the Expo.
Mary Jane,
Like
we're not even allowed to do illegal shit anymore. Okay?
Yeah, they made it so that we can't do all that illegal shit.
I hope you're listening. I hate you. Damn the government.
Back in the day, we were breaking the law 12 ways to Sunday. I mean, Jesus, I was crossing international borders with Afghani hash that I got in Toronto. I mean, I should have been locked away for life.
Yeah, unfortunately, your laws that you got down there.
Well, yeah. We can't even tell people that we smoke cannabis.
Next time Kurt comes to Canada, a little video is going to pop up and say, "Excuse me, Mr. Kurt, did you say this on the 420 radio show?" Denied.
For sure.
It can happen.
You're not supposed to talk about your cannabis use and airplanes, Kurt. Come on now. Okay, so here's a question.
In the United States, I had to delete my phone, like everything.
Do you, when you travel abroad? bit, hey, Kurt? Or you were before COVID.
Correct. Well, North America. I wouldn't say abroad. I wasn't
Okay,
going to
but you
London
traveled a
every
fair
day.
bit around, Canada, U.S., and stuff like that. What do you say? Did they ask you those questions? Len, you travel. Do they ask you? Excuse me, sir.
Darcy.
Do you have cannabis?
Never asked me.
Never.
Show that.
They've never asked me.
Show that, Darcy.
Show what, Darcy?
Oh, nice.
Depends on the circumstance.
From how much?
The authority.
Have you been denied anywhere because of cannabis use?
Nice.
Kurt?
No.
Not yet,
Obviously,
anyways.
You keep it on the DL.
Yeah.
Well, if you are carrying, right, or if you're the daily consumer, like many of us are, like you told Steve earlier, we're all medical users.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
often is daily. You just, I don't wear Grateful Dead T-shirts at border crossings. Let's just put it that way.
Thanks, mate.
Do you know what I do? I have a clean laptop. I have a clean laptop that has some account on it of personal stuff that I've made sure is completely clean of anything to ever mention anything in case I travel.
I will not even drive my car in my 420 radio hoodie because I stand out like a fucking billboard. As soon as I get out, if you see 420 radio on it, and if cop sees that, they're going to just, excuse me, sir.
Well, even wearing a
That's
hat.
wise.
Well, have do you wear your you used to wear the hoodie? Al had one when he was with us doing his shows.
I wear my hoodie.
Yeah.
You wear your hoodie, guys?
I wear mine all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, any.
But you don't drive. You don't drive, Marcel. Okay,
No,
there's a
but
difference there.
No, I walk so they can actually.
Okay, so I drive everywhere.
Do you wear yours?
Cannabis pants.
Do you?
I wear a cannabis mask.
Now, have you ever been pulled over and questioned?
LA. Listen, I flew to LA carrying Gary, my cannabis cushion, in my arms. When I got back to Toronto, they laughed. They're like, the lady called somebody over. She's like, check this out. She's got a bug pillow. I'm like, okay, can I go now?
So you guys don't travel like Len. I'm sure you don't smell like weed when you're traveling. But what happens when you smell like weed? I mean, there's
but I did.
There's a mem out there that basically says IHOP will not serve you if you smell like marijuana.
I see now.
And now that's just I'm sure that's not all IHOPs, and that makes no sense because IHOP is a munchy haven.
Yeah. They'd be retarded to do that. But I flew into Ottawa with an ounce of the dankest pot you ever fucking could imagine in my carry-on.
Oh God, Tim's putting a skid on the fireplace. There you go.
It was Canada, right?
Give it a minute.
Pardon me?
Yeah,
it was Canada.
Yeah,
But
I rolled a joint
that doesn't bother me.
on the plane.
This was still
while I
back
was flying to the East Coast.
Yeah, MMAR. I was busting up hash and rolling joints on the plane.
Canada, you good. It's when you cross that imaginary line.
But see, that's the thing. The last time I crossed the line, I took a clean laptop with me. I left my phone at home. Right? If I've got to do it again, I've got that clean laptop, and I'll go and get another phone if God forbid, no offense, Kurt. But
Kurt,
I have to go to the States.
Next time you're trying to do your own version of Midnight Express, there, buddy, out of Canada, you might want to think twice.
Honestly, though, I don't think the border, as long as you're not obviously carrying, and flaunting it, they don't bother you.
I remember
because they are asking at the border if you use cannabis, and if you say yes,
they're not. I've gone through a bunch of times, and I'm
not
like
you.
everybody else.
Yeah,
I got a fucking security clearance that they fucking know I work for a cannabis company.
Right,
and
I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to be mean or anything at all, but I look at you as being the least likely person
100%
to use cannabis because to me you would fit the stereotypical nerd.
I do.
Right?
Yeah, honestly.
So I don't mean that as a bad thing.
That'll be gone in 10 minutes.
I like hanging around with you because I look like a cop. You look like a nerd. We're pretty cool.
Throw the neighbor in there, and you got a fucking 6-pack of hamburgers and beer.
No, but Marcel's right. Like everyone has to remember, I actually have like a health professional degree and a license. I can't fuck it up. So,
okay, but now you know what? I used to, when I was doing the higher estate with Ira Price, Dr. Ira Price. I used to ask him questions like that. I would say on the show, dude, have you ever smoked a joint? And he laughs at me and said, yes, Al, I've smoked a joint. But I'm curious because like we have Jack Lloyd on the show. He's been on the show for 10 years, and but and he's
had Jack do.
He's open.
We haven't had Jack smoke a joint on the show yet.
Oh, I'm sure he has, but he's not been on camera.
Right.
I mean, I've stood with Jack while he was smoking a joint outside at one of the events. But my question, bugging him really is like, do you ever go into court high? Like, I mean, do you ever go into your pharmacy high? You know what I mean? Hey, doc, do you ever do you ever see patients stoned? I mean, like, there's my point is, hold on, Marcel. My point is, okay, there is a professional etiquette. We are all sitting around on our own time, smoking and having conversations. But a professional person like Len, Ira Price, Jesus, even Prime Minister Trudeau, if he smokes pot, he's not going to go out there and go, I'm going to go and smoke a joint and then go stand in Congress like N.J. Weedman would do.
Well, Darcy and Marcel can
See, we can.
Don't smoke.
I smoke all the time.
What's that?
Yeah.
You don't smoke at work?
We try and get Lenny to come out and have a joint with us all the time. He won't come out.
Yep.
He'll wait until after work.
Well,
Darcy
different
smokes.
Different people do different things.
All fucking but see, I smoke all fucking day long. I've got to go out and smoke.
Yeah, like my medical use is mostly sleep, right? It's not daytime pain. So I have no justification medically during the day that I should be smoking my cannabis during the day. So I will not.
So in my case, it's pain and also allowing other people to stay alive.
I just got to say, I wish I had some fucking edibles right now. Oh, I have mushrooms.
Fucker.
Oh, darn.
My prescription just says use as required.
Yeah, mine does as well.
I think there's only been.
What do they call that? NPR or whatever? NPR?
Yeah. Put it this way, Al. If I started smoking weed because of my medical license at the pharmacy, I'm gonna need the lawyer Jack Lloyd.
For sure. Yes, for sure.
But
that's what I'm getting at. There's a professional etiquette that a doctor doesn't go and get loaded before he goes into the fucking office. A lawyer, you hope. A lawyer may have a couple of drinks while he's in his office and then go into court. Well, they do it on the movies, anyways.
But a lawyer usually will chase those couple drinks with a little bump.
But alcohol is different. Alcohol is accepted. Cannabis still is not. Because of the stigma. Thank you, Tim.
But they smell bad. But then they meet me and I teach them about oil.
I would rather smell a pothead than a drunk any fucking day.
Yeah, but it's not, even though alcohol is acceptable, it's not acceptable for a professional to consume during their work time and stuff like that.
If a cop goes out and has a drink in the middle of the afternoon while he's on duty, he's going to get fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Lenny, can I bring my scotch to work so I can medicate all day?
Would you go? You have a medical document showing that you
I think that Mary Jane's getting a little bit warm.
See, and I chase that terrible alcohol with something good like bubble hash.
Hey, you got hash left?
What temperature does Gary combust at?
You'd better move your chair back, darling.
Who asked if I had hash left?
I was asking Tim, actually.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, shit, I got like 6, 7 different kinds of hash.
So, okay, did Darcy come back?
He's there.
There he is. Hi, buddy.
Anything.
So, have you got anything prepared for us, buddy?
Well, I always have something to talk about.
Awesome. So let's talk with you. Here's Darcy as Mary Jane's phone falls and her mic drops. Anyways, go ahead, Darcy.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
No, I was just gonna talk a little blurb about
Whoa.
post-harvest.
Go ahead, buddy.
Time of season.
I'm gonna try not to melt here.
And what's some things you can do with the product? Which are a couple things you can do. Is you can make butter.
Wait.
If you want.
Wait. Let's do this in order. You've covered growing, germination, and growing, vegging, flowering, feeding. You haven't talked about trimming and drying. Come on, Darcy.
Perfect time to talk about that, too.
This is the perfect time, and let's go, because this is my favorite
Trimming.
fucking argument. But it's my favorite argument. Come on, let's do it.
Trimming? It fucking sucks. There's trimming covered in it.
Not if you hire seniors.
I know a fella wears a shirt all the time. It says trimming sucks.
Trimming does suck.
Trimming is absolutely necessary and one of the most important things, trimming and curing. If you don't do that right, then all that time you grew is wasted.
Correct.
Come on,
Darcy, let's hear it. Come on.
Tell
Let's
them.
Teach them about harvesting. Post-harvest is fun. That's just
Marcel,
fun.
why don't you let him talk so he can teach us?
I'm going to.
Okay.
I want to hear it.
Okay. One of these days I'm going to tell him to shut up, Al.
Yeah, I already did that.
Anyways, first make sure